Hey guys, Metal Driver here bringing you another Ultimate review. Today, I'll be looking at the WWE Ultimate Edition, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. On the side, we see an image of The Fiend and his name. The back of the box features an image of The Fiend, the figure posed in action, a brief bio, career highlight, and a description of this figure. Bio includes height of 6 feet 3 inches, from parts unknown, and finisher Mandible Claw. Career highlight includes Universal Champion. The description states, inside the Firefly Funhouse, Bray Wyatt has an underlying air of sinister intent. There is nothing underlying about his horrific alter ego, The Fiend. Birthed from the unsettling dark corners of Bray Wyatt's mind, the ghoulish Fiend awaits anyone who's ready to play. All you have to do is let me in. So now that we have looked at the box, let's go ahead and open this figure up and take a closer look at the Fiend. Right, and here's the Fiend out of the packaging. But first, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So he comes with a interchangeable head sculpt with his tongue sticking out. He comes with his custom Fiend Universal Championship belt. Then he comes with a plastic jacket accessory with interchangeable sleeved articulated arms and a pair of open hands. Alright, so the first piece that I want to look at is this custom Universal Championship belt, which looks amazing. Mattel did a great job with this belt. Looks really good. As you can see, it's got the hurt at the top and then the heel here at the bottom. I love the paint job, all the details on this belt. It's got all these little stitching pieces here. You got the words let and in on the sides of the strap with the Fiend looking at you, so you got the let me in, so that looks really cool. I do like how the belt also has these added buckles here, gives it that nice dark gothic heavy metal look. And then the paint on the Fiend head sculpt here, or the mask I should say, is really well done. The paint looks really good, the eyes, the teeth, the lips, just everything about this belt is fantastic. Mattel did a really good job on this. Paint looks good. And on the back, it's just solid black. We've got some nice buttons here. Do like how the back has this leathery look. It's just not a solid, smooth plastic. So really awesome belt. Love that we have this. Then the second piece that I want to look at is the extra head sculpt with the tongue sticking out. So this is really well done. This is a brand new head sculpt that we have not gotten before. Paint looks really good on the lips, the teeth, the tongue looks really good. The eyes are well painted, so are the black parts here and the red around the black lining. The white looks good on the mask. It's a really awesome job. And then there's this patch of skin. So when I first saw this, I thought this was a QC issue, that they just missed the paint here. But when looking at the promo photos on Ringside Collectibles, it looks like that is there on their promo photos as well. So I'm assuming this is an intentional thing. I'm not sure. I don't know if this was based off a specific promo that he did, or maybe even a match where the chin was exposed or the paint on the mask was peeling off or was ripped off. So that's a little weird that that's intentionally done. Then the hair looks really good. Sculpted really well. The dreads look good. It's got the blonde dreads with a little bit of dark highlights, so that looks really good. Glad that we have the blonde accurate, unlike the first release of Elite 77 had the dark dreads on the Fiend. Then the head sculpt does fit on the figure really well, looks good on the figure. Then the next pieces of accessories that he has is his entrance jacket. So this is a plastic jacket. Now normally I don't like plastic jackets because the sleeves always hinder the articulation. However, what Mattel has been doing with their Ultimate Edition figures, or the figures with the plastic jackets, we've gotten articulated sleeves, which I'm okay with. I think aesthetically that looks really good. So this piece is the torso piece. So paint looks good on the buttons. Looks like there's a little bit of missing paint right here on this button, so not fully painted with silver, but other than that, looks really good. The design of the leather jacket looks good. You've got the lapels here, or the collar piece, really nice. Got some nice detail all around. You've got this belt on the back with the buckles, painted really well. Looks good. And then you got the coattails down here, so that's really neat. So in order to get this on the figure, you just pop out the arms, then you put the coat over the torso. So it looks pretty decent so far. Then you've got the articulated arms here, so you just pop them in the socket, and voila, you've got the articulated arms of the sleeves. I like this as an alternative to soft goods. What makes this plastic articulated jacket really nice is that you've got the aesthetic of the jacket accurate. Sometimes you can't really do that with soft goods, especially at this scale of a figure. So this looks really nice. The sleeves look good. You've got the buttons here painted pretty well. Just some slight sloppiness here, not a big deal. Then same thing on the other arm piece. Silvers look pretty good. Slight sloppiness on this button. Details on the sleeves are really good. And then it is articulated, so the shoulders do go that high up. They rotate all the way around. It's got a bicep swivel. double jointed elbows, which have really good range of motion. And then the hands have a swivel and hinge at the wrist here. Then you see the hurt and heel on the open palm hands that are attached to the sleeves, and these hands are removable. Alright, then taking a look at the head sculpt that comes on the figure. Now the face of the mask, I do believe is identical to the previous Fiend head sculpts that we have received. The sculpt work looks very similar. I think maybe the smile might be a little bit wider than the previous one, but it could just be my imagination. But as you notice with the other figure, the biggest difference is the sculpting of the dreads. So on the previous figure, the dreads swooped down to the right side of the head sculpt, whereas on the new one, it looks a bit messier, but it's mostly swooping down on the left side. You've got this one dread coming down on the front, so that looks really good. The paint looks excellent on this head sculpt. The whites, the blacks, and even the reds all look very well done. Doesn't seem to be any fuzzy work or any mispaint, so I'm really happy with that. And then the dreads are painted blonde, and it's got this dark highlights, so that's really well done. So the figure that I did show was the Elite 77 first release version. They did later release a blonde version with that wave, and also we received the blonde version with the Top Picks Bray Wyatt. So look at the blonde dreads. I do believe the color is slightly different on this one, and I do prefer how it looks on the Ultimate Edition Bray Wyatt. Alright, then looking at the body. So the tattoos on the body, pretty much the same as the Elite version. Maybe the Ultimate Edition has some slight better detail, but overall the paint job on the tattoos are very similar with the arms on both sides of the figures. The tattoos are pretty much identical as well, although it does look like the tattoo on the back of the neck of the Ultimate Edition does look more detailed. So here we see a closer look, so that does look better than the Elite version. So the Elite version you see just some dark, thick paint work, whereas on the Ultimate Edition it looks like the line work is a little bit more finer looking. It's lighter looking as well, so it gives it a more realistic tattoo look. Alright, one difference that I did want to note is that the torso is sculpted differently than the Elite version. So on the Elite, it does look a little bit more muscular, a little bulkier, kind of like a V shape almost. So originally when I saw images of this Ultimate Edition, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but this is growing on me. It does look a little bit more accurate to Bray Wyatt's torso, so that's really nice. And then on his tank top, he does have the praying hands design that was not on the torso. So I like that attention to detail, so that looks really nice. Then as I stated, the arm tattoos are identical. They are the same. Now the arms are different because these are double jointed arms, whereas the Elite Bray Wyatt has single jointed arms. The hands look good, they're painted well, the letters look good on both gloves. So good paint work on that. Good paint work throughout the entire torso. So really happy with how that turned out. Then looking at the legs, they are pretty much identical to the Elite version as well. Same design. The biggest difference is that this has red stripes, whereas the Elite version, it's more of a maroon color. But other than that, the design is pretty much identical in every single way. Now what's not identical are the boots. Now the boots here have better detail. They've got these straps here sticking out, which I like. I like that detail there. You also have this cover here, so that looks really cool. So the boots on the Elite version are just standard black laced up boots. And then we do have the designs on the boots here. These are better than the Elite. The Elite was just a maroon line going across the top of the foot, whereas this one has some added detail. So overall, excellent detail on the Ultimate Edition Fiend figure. Paint job came out really well. There's really no paint issues that I'm seeing, so I'm really happy with how this looks. Alright, then going over the articulation. I didn't notice that my head on the Fiend wasn't all the way secure on the ball joint, so his head was sitting up high, so this is how it's supposed to look. So that looks a little more accurate and better. But with that being said, the head is on a ball joint. It can look, well, it can't really look up at all. It does look that far down, which is much better. His head can turn side to side, and it can tilt. Shoulder has a hinge, which allows it to go that high up. Rotate all the way around. There's a bicep swivel. And as we saw, he has double jointed elbows. So it does look like the sleeved elbows have better range of motion. He has a swivel and hinge at the wrist. He has an upper diaphragm joint, which allows him to crunch that far forward and go that far back. He can pivot pretty well, and he can turn side to side. He also has a waist swivel. Ball joints at the hips, which allow the legs to go that far out and go that high up. There's a thigh cut. Double jointed knees, a cut at the top of the boot. Ankle has a hinge which allows it to go that high up, that far down. He has some really good ankle pivot and toe articulation. Alright, and here's the Ultimate Edition Fiend, next to the first release Elite 77 Fiend figure with the darker hair, and also next to the top picks Fiend figure with the accurate blonde hair. And as you can see, the Ultimate Edition Fiend is slightly shorter than the two Elite versions. Then here he is next to the ringside exclusive Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt figure. As you can see, this figure is a lot shorter than the Elite version, but because the Ultimate Edition is slightly shorter than the Elite, their height is a little bit closer to each other. However, this figure is still too small in my opinion. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the new Ultimate Edition, The Fiend Bray Wyatt? I think this is an amazing figure. I think Mattel did a great job with this Ultimate Edition version of The Fiend. I love the two head sculpts that we get with this figure. I like that the standard default head sculpt has a different hairpiece than the previous Elite version. I love the jacket accessory that he comes with. I'm glad that he has articulated sleeves, so we're able to put him in good poses. And most of all, I love how we have the custom Fiend Universal Championship belt. So if you are a fan of The Fiend, if you're a fan of Bray Wyatt, this is definitely a figure you're going to want to pick up. So I think this is a definite must-have to pick up for your collection. And I do like this better than the Elite figure. I do like the torso, how it looks a little bit better than the previous Elite that we received. So overall, I'm really satisfied with how this turned out. The only thing he's really missing is the lantern. Now, we did receive the lantern with the Elite version. However, an updated lantern would have been nice, maybe with a better paint job. Now, I know some fans would have probably liked maybe a light-up feature with that lantern. I don't think we would have gotten that with an Ultimate Edition, especially at this price point, but still, it would have been nice to include the lantern with this figure. So if you like this review, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can see more WWE Elite reviews and also Ultimate Edition reviews. Follow me on social medias and keep up to date with all my wrestling figure photography, and then stay tuned till the end to see pictures of this figure in action, and I'll see you next time.